This segment of the Plastic Surgery Channel is brought to you by Galatea, now offering Galaform, the first 3D mesh for soft tissue support.
This is No Spin Live, and we have a great show for you today. We're going to talk about cheap breast implants, a Playboy model whose life is ruined, and size 6 being too big for a beauty pageant. And we've got a great crew, some real seasoned veterans with us today. We got Caroline Glicksman from Seagirt, New Jersey, and Bruce Van Natta from Indianapolis, Indiana. Let's get into this here. You guys, I'm sure, have a lot to say about this, but the first story that we had was this. It was headlined, "A surge in Australian breast cancer cases are linked to cheap breast implants." So, Caroline, why don't you lead us off? What do you think about this story? What's the real message?
Yeah, well, I think there are two stories here, and I think that they're confusing two stories or sort of blending them together. The first issue is, yes, Australia has reported a higher incidence of a breast implant-associated ALCL, or this lymphoma, around certain breast implants. But the other part of the story is this company TUV that was using silicone gel from the company PIP implants, this industrial grade silicone. Those implants were failing, and now there's a battle between the two companies as to who has the financial responsibility. But there is an issue of these textured implants. Some of these implants were polyurethane coated. They use a lot of those in Australia, and that's part of the story here. But there are two different stories that these authors are kind of blending together.
And Bruce, I mean, this is not, I mean, it's a little misleading, as Caroline's saying, it's not really breast cancer they're even talking about. And, you know, tell us more about that. And I mean, is it really cheap breast implants, or is it like a cheap procedure or technique?
Well, it's, you know, of course, my experience over the years has been that it's never the surgeon or the surgeon's fault. It's always the device. And I think that's just, this is another example maybe of that. It's pretty easy to point fingers at the devices and put the blame there. But really, I think you're better to look back at the procedure and who's doing it and how they're doing it.
What do you tell your patients now about breast implant ALCL?
Well, you know, if you're going by the numbers, and I use textured implants quite a bit still. I use them when they're necessary, and they're the best implant for that patient. But it's about risk and doing a clean procedure. We know the things that we think at this stage. We're having some great theories, and you're helping with a lot of that, as to the ways that we can prevent this. I have never yet, I should, you know, be very careful with what I say, but I have not had an ALCL case in 27 years. But irrespective of that, you know, it's about risk for patients. They have a 1 in 8 chance of getting breast cancer in their lifetime. And if you're looking at the numbers and the risk of this illness, which is treatable, it's extremely rare. So I try to put things in perspective and do the right surgery for each patient.
Yeah, I think that's well said and good information. All right, well, let's go on to the next story. And you know, that we've had this kind of motif before, some model that says that she had this plastic surgery procedure done, and now it's ruined her life. This one, Sarah Harris, claims that her double D boob job has ruined her life.
I guess part of the take-home message, Bill, is be careful what you wish for. I think all of us here on this follow the idea that we really want to try and match implants to patients' bodies. And of course, there's a lot of pressure from people, and there's a lot of competition. And I think a lot of our colleagues, particularly certain areas of the country, feel pressure to try to meet those expectations. They're afraid that these patients are going to go elsewhere. And the reality is there's a price to be paid when you cross the line and exceed what the tissues are capable of supporting. And we all see that. Botch just doesn't happen on the TV show. It happens in all our offices on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really good information. The three of us, actually, it's kind of funny that we're doing this show, is because we've been, for 10 or 15 years, we've been doing a lot of educational things together all around the world, talking about these sort of things. And Caroline, one of the things you have talked about probably the most is patient education. It sounds like to me, this person, that's probably one of the primary things you would say about this, is that she made bad decisions on the front end, so it's not surprising she's unhappy, right?
Devastated. She's absolutely devastated. She's horrified. Where was she when she was selecting her surgeon, and where was she when they were picking implants? It's 2017. This shouldn't happen anymore. The patients should be more informed. They've got internet access. They've got blogs. They've got real self. They can make really good decisions. And you know what? If the surgeon gives in to their whims, then the surgeon's to blame as well. It's not just a one-sided thing. It's poor decisions made up front.
Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with both of you. Actually, it's definitely a two-way street. There's some responsibility on the patient's part, but certainly responsibility on the doctor and the practice's part as well. But I would have to say, I agree. I actually agree with both of you guys. But I would say she probably spent a lot more time picking out her Fendi handbag than she did her breast implants. The last story is this beauty pageant story where apparently this girl who was Miss United Continents UK 2017, which I hadn't heard of, but it sounds big to me. But she just renounced her crown because she was going to go compete, and they told her that she was a size 6 and she needed to lose weight. So Bruce, I don't know what the takeaway for this is. It sounds a little odd, but what do you think?
I think my wife gets the Athleta catalogs, and they got some plus size girls in there in that workout stuff. And I picked it up once, and I'm like, man, this is cool. This is, they're not all that way. And I'd say the majority of the models are still pretty thin, but at least they're showing that there is some diversity and it's okay. You can be comfortable and happy with your body, even if, you're carrying a little extra weight. So, I think it's kind of sad that the industry, if you will, in that regard is perpetrating this unrealistic expectation of single-digit body fat.
Yeah, I guess if she didn't want to be part of it because she's too large, then she made us she'd probably get more press and more attention for that statement than her crown.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's some great stuff. You guys are awesome. Thanks for those great insights. And if you want to see more of this, you can see it on theplasticsurgerychannel.com.